Hello, welcome back, or welcome if you've not been here before. This is Artist Cycling. I'm Greg Leach, and we're still painting the Tour de France, of course. This is stage 12, so we got a few more to go. It is 21 stages. So we got through the halfway point of the tour, halfway through the stage yesterday, and we were on the downhill side. Of course, today there's virtually no hills, but we go back to the mountains tomorrow, I believe. So I did want to, I remember this time to write down the names. So I want to thank Art for Cash, Mode Aran, Glenn Isaac, and Panada Video for the follows. It's truly appreciated. And for some reason, YouTube decided to start showing me those. And of course, I do appreciate the comments. I know, Isaac, you did, as well as Rob's Artstring. Guys, all the interaction is both appreciated. Nice to know that people are actually out there watching. And actually have something to say about what I'm doing. So this is a group coming back up through the race caravan, coming back. I don't know exactly why they were off the back, but most likely a nature break, since I didn't catch there. As far as I know, there haven't been any wrecks today, which is always nice. There was a bit of rain, which certainly was a welcome cooling moment for the peloton, but alas, the temperature went right back up as soon as it stopped raining. So they're still melting. They've actually had a literal problem with melting on the roadways. But, it's hot. I've been in that situation, the chip and seal, which is such a terrible surface to ride on, rough. Feels like the bike barely moves. And you do feel like the road is literally gluing itself to your wheels. So I do like that the guy here on the front, who's riding for Astana, is a champion of Kazakhstan, is Vinokurov's son. So Vinokurov was one of the primary adversaries to Lance Armstrong. Also a rider who was how do I want to say that? Was accused and found to have been doping, like many of the riders, unfortunately, in Lance Armstrong's era and prior. There's a lot of chatter online about whether or not Pogacar's doping. I did share something on my socials about Thomas Voeckler and his take on it. Of course, he's like, there is no evidence. I want to be very clear. There's absolutely no evidence that he is doping, but There's always a but, isn't there? It seems a little suspicious to Watercolor. If you don't know about Watercolor, I've talked a little bit about them. One of my favorite French writers. And like earlier when the Torsten Justine went in an early break and took the yellow jersey, Watercolor did that, and everybody was like, oh, he'll lose it today. And the next day, he'll lose it today. And the next day, he'll lose it today. And he held it all the way through the Pyrenees, much to Lance Armstrong's frustration and surprise. So naturally, he became a hero of French cycling. He also had a habit of mugging, I guess, pulling lots of faces, and his tongue was particularly active. Call this back through the cards. See, look, I remembered to sign it this time. Actually, yesterday I ended up not signing a place. I did sign it after, but it's photographed without. So if you go through yesterday's posts on my cycling blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com, you will find one of the paintings is unsigned. So these guys are, as I say, coming back up through the peloton. Through the following caravan of team cars and Commissaire, which is the last car behind the peloton, is this car right here, which is the race director's car, sort of the head referee. And he, so these guys are just about to tack back on. To the peloton. Sorry, I'm giving you weird spaces in my speech, aren't I? Whoops, didn't clean my brush well enough. So, don't know who this EF writer is. I may be able to figure that out. But it is Mads Pedersen and Vinokurov. Sorry, Vinokurov's first name. I can't remember his dad's first name, but this is Nicholas. What's on my brush? Okay. Went to look for that and forgot what color I had gotten ready to paint. Kind of need to know that. I don't want to put the brush in the wrong place because, again, I think I've shown you that trying to correct a mistake. It's very difficult to correct, virtually impossible, really, to correct a mistake with watercolors. It's kind of like learn to accept it or throw the painting away and start over. And I've done that. That's the other thing, of course, I am, as you notice, using these permanent markers to draw this out. And I assume you've noticed that I'm not using, there's no pencil sketch prior. And I kind of work that way in all of my work, my studio work as well. It's not out of laziness, but I don't like to do preliminary sketches, I like to just dive into the work. Part of what I find interesting when looking at paintings is seeing the artist's thought process and corrections that have to be made. Now, my main studio work, which you can see at my website, gregleach.com, is large scale and done with oil sticks, which of course is an opaque medium. So in that case, it is a little easier to make corrections. I have to wait for the paint to dry, of course, and then I can come back in and paint over the mistakes. So just working through my palette as per usual. It's not quite as turquoise as I wanted it to be. I've always struggled with astonishing colors. Which of course are based on the flag, which his kit is emblazoned with. So I see that Mads has opted to go back to his, he had been wearing a green helmet to match the green his green jersey, but went back to wearing the yellow helmet. The yellow helmets are designate the team in the lead in the team race. So not only is there, the race for the yellow jersey, which we all know about, but there's that was a little too watery. So I'm gonna have to wait a minute and then come back and add more color to it. And again, watercolors are transparent, so you can build up the intensity by building layers. There we go. So see how that's so much darker now. So less water in this second application of color. It's interesting that he hasn't gone to a green bike yet. But he only has, right now in this competition, he has a on the road right now with winning the intermediate sprint, or the best of the rest of the sprint. He has a 54-point lead. So if Biniam Girmay, say, were to win the stage where there's 70 points on offer, he would take over the lead, and Mads would be back to his team kit again. I certainly hope that doesn't happen, although I'd love to see Biniam Girmay in green. It's hard when you're a fan of two different sprinters. It's like, well, who do I root for? So just getting the bushes back here behind them. So I loaded my brush with some new, this set is, the cake watercolors, but I've added the tube watercolors to it. And so until they dry up a little bit, they're a bit more intense. So I'm having a little trouble getting the balance right. There's so many factors you have to control or let go, one of the two. Just went to the wrong place. So right now, the saturation of color is intense in certain ones of these. But, I'll adapt. It's a big part of art making is adapting. So closing in on getting this one done, so it's time to remind you to, or ask you to leave a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, to subscribe. All of this work is available for purchase. As of right now, this one is available. And sorry, I gotta make a blue here. At my website, but if you go to the cycling blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com, in each post you'll find a direct link to that particular painting, to my website where you can purchase the work securely. The website does a very good, the administrators of the website do a very good job. And of course, your purchases help me keep going. And also in many cases, and for many paintings, there are prints available. So while the originals are $99, and that includes shipping, there are prints for a number of the images that start at $25. So I know things are tough economically, but there's at least another option. I just realized I missed a corner there. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for all of those who have followed. And I appreciate the comments. Please keep them coming. And again, if you're not already a subscriber, I would love it if you would. So thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it.